crazy horse
Yes, it's
prophesized
prediction.
that our seventh generation was going to rise up and heal a sick world. And a seventh generation meaning all people's seventh generation, not just the Lakota people's generation, but every race.
Okay.
That generation is going to rise up and will heal a sick world.
So can you tell us what is this phenomenon? I mean, of missing and murdered Indian women. What actually happening?
A lot of us suffer from drug and alcohol addictions. So a lot of the women are not in their right state of mind when these things happen, and when a lot of them happen. A lot of them, they're just stolen or killed. And and were never investigated. That's the big problem. Is they know, everybody knows that we're dying and stuff, but it's played off like they use our addictions as an excuse. Oh well, she was out drinking, or
Right.
she was out doing drugs, and so then that happened to her. That's why she died. They use those kinds of to lead people down that it is our fault.
Right. So you have all these Native American women and maybe even girls, right?
Young teenagers.
They disappear or they are found murdered after a while. It seems that in many of these cases, and many of them have been solved, it has been serial killers who have been going specifically to Native American territories to commit these murders. Why do you think these serial killers went specifically to Native American territories to commit those murders?
Because like I said, it's easy. These are poverty areas, and so, and like I said, and our addictions are really bad on the reservations and stuff, so it's easier to lure the women, and then it's also easier to, once you kill the woman or whatever, that it's most likely they won't get investigated.
Yeah, right. Because
nobody cares about what happens to them, so they know that they can get away with it, especially if it's a white person, because along with being white, you get that white privilege, So if it's a white man who's standing there saying, no, it wasn't me, they're going to take his word for it over ours every day,
Yeah.
all day long. They will take the white person's word over ours.
Right. Right. Yeah. This is what seems to have happened and probably still be happening if people look into this more closely. There's many documentaries on the subject, including like free documentaries on the internet. Another problem seems to be, in addition to the fact that these women were probably in a vulnerable state due to alcohol or other forms of addiction. It seems that the tribal authorities cannot prosecute a white man who comes into the reservation, commits murders, and then leaves the reservation, right?
Right. We cannot do that.
Yeah. So that, yeah, it's like an invitation for serial murderers to come. Yeah, to come. They just have to not get caught right away. I mean, even if there's evidence later, as long as they are out of the Indian territory, then they will be fine, right?
Right. And then, then the feds will have to get involved, and they don't want to come in and do all that work either,
Yeah.
Because, that's the government.
Yeah.
And, that's just, they do as little as possible for us. In every establishment and system that they have, they work to do as little as possible for us.
Yeah, it's a typical cynical attitude of the colonizer. It's like, oh, you wanted to have your own territory, so there you have it. So you don't complain and make sure you
you have your piece of land. The little tiny piece of land. You have your reservation, so don't complain or anything. We give you guys money.
Right.
The same old song and dance that we've been hearing for
500 years. Right. Yeah, it's so cynical and disgusting, and of course women like often find themselves in a very bad spot, like at the intersection of many struggles, like the struggle against patriarchy, the struggle against racism, and other things. So yeah, it's a shocking issue, really.
Right. And Rapid City, South Dakota is one of the cities in South Dakota, one of the bigger cities anyway. And a lot of our girls go missing from there for sex trafficking.
Yeah, right. I think there's some protests right now around some landfill where they suspect there's many of the bodies of these missing.
That's up in Canada.
It's in Canada, right.
Yes, where the serial killer, and I think 3 of the women are in the landfill, yes. And
but the authorities
not helping to look for them or nothing.
Yeah, exactly. They say it's like too expensive or whatever to look for their bodies in the landfill. Yeah, so this is an issue which is happening in the US, in Canada, in other parts of America. So this is not isolated. It's not just like the US only or Canada only. So this shows that these issues of domination of Indian women specifically is something that is not it's bigger than a country. It's an ideology, right? It's part of the colonial ideology, right? It's the only thing between Canada and the US and some South American and Central American countries, right?
Yeah. That's what I always say about the colonizer history is that the good thing about it is they always keep track of their history, and all through the centuries and stuff, their women was always for sale.
Exactly.
All right. So that is their culture, I don't even know what to say. You know, that's just who they are.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they keep track of everything. Well, like the Nazis, really, because the Nazis kept track of absolutely everything.
Right.
Even if they were committing horrors, they just kept track of everything as if there was no tomorrow, like no justice that
Right.
would
They
come
were.
at some
I
point.
think that I think they're thinking is that they think they were actually going to get rid of
Yeah,
all the Jews. The United States thought they were going to get rid of all of us.
exactly.
You know, so that's why I think that's why they kept track of it, because they wanted to show that their history
Yeah.
and you know.
Well, they can at least that's what they thought, and they still think is that they can always get away with it by twisting the history, by twisting
Right.
facts and and the numbers and but yeah, thankfully they haven't been able to hide everything. At least
Right.
they're still hiding stuff, certainly. And
Yes, yes, that they
yeah,
are.
yeah, the boarding school scandals are just
Yeah.
just one part of this. It comes years and years later, but yeah, it
Right.
feels, it confirms what many people have been saying all along. Um, yeah, so
Hmm.
big issue, and I invite everyone to look into it further. This missing and murdered Indian women, um,
Right.
and yeah, to take part into this struggle, because it's a large scale issue, yeah,
Right. Right. The more
governments.
awareness, yes, we can bring to it, the better.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what can you tell us regarding this colonizer ideology? What are and the lies like that are produced by the colonizer? What are in your opinion, like the top myths and cliches that have been produced, that have been circulated about Native
Well,
Americans?
everybody thinks that the government has honored the treaties,
Right.
and not a single one of those treaties have been honored. You know, we were supposed to get my tribe, the Osente Shakone, was supposed to get the treaty, Fort Laramie Treaty, that was supposed to give us all the Black Hills. I think it spans 4 states that the
Wow.
government gave us in a treaty, right? That was our land.
Yeah.
And we don't get any of it. We got none of
Right.
it. Once they found gold on that in the Black Hills, then that's when they start pushing us into reservations, onto the little tiny pieces of land. So a lot of people still think that the United States honors those treaties,
Right.
or and they might honor a little bit, like our healthcare. They're supposed to give us free healthcare. Well, we get free healthcare, excuse my language,
Mm.
from the reservations, but
Yeah.
you have to go back to the reservations. If you live in the cities, you don't get
Wow.
free healthcare.
Wow, this is like apartheid state, really, stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, the government has never honored that, their treaties, and we don't get any money. That's a big cliche, is that we get checks, we get free gas, we don't have to pay taxes, all of that. A lot of people believe that we get free money and we don't have to pay taxes.
right, right. Yeah, they produce. The problem is they own the quote unquote information media. I call them
Right.
these information media, and
Right.
they have the power to spread false information, and
Right.
if you don't have any
Right.
like,
They write the history books,
yeah,
in the schools and stuff, where our
yeah,
children are indoctrinated.
yeah,
It's
exactly,
their history book.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's quite shocking that a Native American living in a city to benefit from this free healthcare, however shitty
Right.
it is indeed, has to go back to their reserve.
Go back to the reservation.
This
Yes, travel
this
back to
this
the reservation.
wow, this is like shocking, because even an immigrant who comes to the US, who is like legal, like they say, as if like a person cannot be.
Right.
This is a great invention from the West,
Right.
like make people illegal. It's extraordinary.
Right.
Yeah. So even an immigrant who is quote unquote legal can have access to healthcare, and I mean, in the same place where they live, right? Um,
Right.
yeah. So this is a disgusting, like, double standard, and yeah,
Right.
cynicism, really, because it's like,
No.
yeah, we gave you this territory, so if you really so why do you complain? You just have to go back to your reservation, and you will enjoy all your
Right.
privileges, right?
Yeah, if you get sick, you better make sure you're close to reservation. You can go to any reservation,
Okay.
but still, it's still you have to travel for it.
Yeah, it can be
Ooh,
yeah, hundreds of, or a couple
right.
thousand of miles. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's disgusting, really.
right.
It's not surprising. And yeah, what kind of other cliches are circulated about Native Americans? Well, there is the cliche that Native Americans have alcohol issues and so on. So this is partly true. And well,
Right.
why does this happen? Why you did yourself have substance abuse issues, right?
Right. Yes, I myself had them. Yeah. Our addictions, I we're all walking around with PTSD. What we went through and everything, we're all dealing with these mental health issues and stuff. So the easiest thing to do, and the government is the one who gave us alcohol. They
Yeah,
handed it to us. So and that made us feel good. Alcohol,
right.
that's what alcohol does, is it makes you feel good. And
Yeah,
just like with drugs, it makes you feel good, and it numbs you, and it makes it easier for you to walk in these two worlds that you are forced to walk in,
right.
where we have our Lakota way of life, and then we have the white way that we have to follow also.
Yeah.
So that's a balancing act to begin with, on top of our mental health issues and stuff. and then lead it down to our healthcare, which is horrible. And so a lot of people don't like going to the free healthcare, because they don't do anything for us anyway. They will give us Tylenol and ibuprofen, and so then we're suffering. So what do we do when we're suffering? What's the easiest medicine available to us?
Right.
Is alcohol and drugs.
Yeah.
It only $3, and you can get a big can of alcohol on my reservation, and it'll get you drunk.
Yeah.
They sell drugs for $10, $20. It's really cheap. It's cheaper to do that
Yeah.
than to deal with what's going on in your head, you know, and to make you get up and do the everyday things that you need to do, especially if you have kids. We try to keep our family units together, but doing that, our kids see our addiction and our drinking and stuff, which isn't good for them. So, we are just stuck in a cycle. And it's a vicious cycle. And, that's where a lot of us are fighting back now. We're healing, and we want them to heal, so that's especially after we got clean and sobered. because
Mm.
we just can't get clean and sobered. We have to also heal from our traumas, from the boarding
Exactly.
schools and from what the government did to us, and you know, trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. And it's a lot easier to go have a drink
Yeah.
than to sit and think about that stuff when you're sobered, because
Right.
I always say we do have a lot of sobered natives and stuff, but they're not healing, and we need to heal. And so then they're just sobered. They're just sitting there sobered, not doing, just stagnant in that sobered, because a lot of our sobered people who have been sobered for a long time are very mean people. They are, I call it boarding school syndrome, where they pound that colonizer time into you. You have to get up and go to school. After you get done with school, you got to go to college. After that, you got to find a job,
Yeah.
and a family, and
Yeah.
they're just stuck in that stage, and they're telling the younger generation what to do,
Yeah.
and so that's where our addictions and our drinking, it is just easier to do that than to deal with everything else.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm not surprised that the government actually subsidizes alcohol, right?
No, alcohol is not allowed on most reservations. A lot of them, it's illegal to have alcohol on them, but
Okay.
that does not stop it, right? They have loopholes because a lot of our reservations have casinos,
Right.
so the casinos serve alcohol. So
Okay.
then, right? So then, and of course, we have bootleggers. A lot of people who bootleg alcohol and
Yeah.
bring it onto the reservation. And we've had bootleggers on my reservation who've been bootleggers since I was a little girl,
Right.
So the tribe knows who the bootleggers are, just like they know who the drug dealers are,
Yeah.
so
I was suspecting the government, it would be so easy for them like to subsidize alcohol and not give you health care. And it's a great way of getting rid slowly of certain people that you don't like.
right.
But yeah, even if the alcohol is it's prohibited by Native American law. I mean, reservation law, or is it?
Yeah, reservation law, because
Okay.
that's always, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an attempt to protect people from
Right. Long time
it's
ago,
called.
long time ago,
Mm,
when at first tribal council and first started and stuff, that was the big thing. When the old ones, they didn't want alcohol on our reservations to prevent it, but our reservations are surrounded by border towns, and these border towns, alcohol everywhere,
yeah.
so it doesn't take but 10 or 5 miles to leave the reservation and run into a liquor store.
Right. Yeah. It's very easy to circumvent
Mhm.
the prohibition of alcohol.
Right.
So you have been doing this for years, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah. Obviously, it must have had some toll on your health, right? On your physical health.
No, right now my health is really good. The reason why I quit taking opiates is because the opiate crisis hit. And my doctor just cut everybody off. And I'm from a small town where there's only 3,000 people in um in that town, so it's really small. We didn't have really hardcore drugs or nothing.
Okay.
So then once I was cut off with the opiates, then I started drinking, because then alcohol is the easiest thing to get and help me through those withdrawals, you know? So yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, people will appreciate really how all of these issues can, yeah, can be difficult to overcome, because when obviously when you take opiates, you can become really addicted, and it can ruin your life. Same thing with alcohol. So yeah, you're I was going to say you're lucky, but yeah, you're probably strong too, that you have survived this.
Yes, yeah. There's many times I could have, yeah, easily have overdosed the amount I was taking, you know, because you have to take more and more once your tolerance goes up,
Yeah, yeah,
you know. And the good thing is, you know, I don't like needles. I've never liked needles. Um, I never snorted my medication. You know, I just took it orally through my mouth. So I think that really saved me. It messed up my stomach a little bit, gave me some ulcers, you know, but so I didn't take it any in extreme ways or anything. I would just take it orally. So I really think that saved me. Um, but yeah, that was a hard one to come off of those opiates.
yeah. Everyone. There's so many documentaries. Even there was a series last year on, or was it this year? I don't remember, on the opiates. Yeah, a typical like Western bourgeoisie like family, and how it did
Yeah.
stuff, and how they how little they care for people, or whatever their business does to people. The What's important for them is just the bottom line. And yeah, it's a very good series. People
Hmm.
should watch it if they haven't yet. And then
Yeah, I will.
yeah, there's also this. You have been promoting this hashtag land back. So
Hmm.
can you tell us where this hashtag comes from, and what it means? And yeah, what it means. What is the meaning behind it?
It comes from Indian Collective. I don't know if you heard. Have you heard of them?
Uh,
Indian Collective.
possibly, but not on top,
Okay.
not on top
All
of
right.
my head.
They're a big organization in Rapid City, South Dakota, and the CEO comes out of the Pine Ridge Reservation, and they are a really big organization that have been leading the way in all kinds of things. And one of them was land back, was us getting our land back, you know. And I never understood when I first start seeing it and stuff, because a lot of our organizations and our movements and everything really started coming out after Standing Rock.
Right,
After Standing Rock took off, a lot of people started getting together and started doing these things. And Nick Tilson is the one who started this Indian Collective, and that was one of their things, was wanting to get the land back, and they were raising a lot of money. Um, they're located in Rapid City, South Dakota, and that's where our Black Hills is. You know, that's stolen land. That's treaty land.
right,
So that actually belongs to us. But they're up there buying a lot of the land back, trying to, you know, doing what they can and stuff. You know, I see even the land back movement as honoring our treaties. You know, at least honor the treaties that you made with us and give us that land back. A lot of like ranchers and farmers and stuff who own a lot of land have been donating their lands back, like to the
wow.
tribes in their area, you know. So um the land is slowly coming back.
So there's these rangers. Are they like white rangers giving back land?
White ranchers, yes,
All
yeah,
right,
who right, who own the land or whatever. And like I said, whatever Indian tribe that is local to that land, they've been donating it back to the tribes and stuff.
Wow, that's
Right.
amazing. We should hear about that more. I mean, it's
Right. It doesn't happen very often. There's been
yeah,
like, yeah, 4 or 5 of them, I think, that I've read about, and
yeah.
that is really awesome. And I appreciate them doing that.
Yeah, it's probably easier to go with the flow and to ignore the Native Americans' requests, legitimate requests. But and I think it's very important because it really goes completely against the narrative, the official narrative, which encourages whites to just ignore and even maybe a little bit hate the Native Americans. Uh,
Right.
and this suddenly you have this happening and like white folks realizing that maybe they should give back this land to the people that it has been stolen from, right? And
Right.
this completely breaks the narrative, right?
Yes, that all the awareness and stuff about it and the truth coming out, the white people are actually hearing us, those are the ones that are hearing us and understand and empathize and everything with us, what we went through, to
Yeah,
be able to return what they lived on for many
generations.
generations,
Yeah,
I'm sure. Right.
right. Yeah,
To
yeah,
give
yeah,
back to us.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's
Right.
amazing. So how can people get informed about this movement, which is behind the land back hashtag? Do they have a website?
Right. The Indian Collective, and
All right.
right, that, like I said, they're the ones who started this, and yeah, they have a big organization and everything. What How they got their money is they applied for government grants and stuff, and they got,
Yeah.
yeah, lots of money and stuff, and they're going to start developing on the reservations, start fixing them up, and they have done a lot on the Pine Ridge. Pine Ridge has their own bank now. They have their
Okay.
own, right, telephone company, and
Brilliant.
they've been doing a lot of things on the Pine Ridge and stuff. They just got a big grant for housing. Oh my gosh, we need housing so bad on our
Right.
reservation. And I know the CEO at Indian Collective just got off a bunch of charges when Trump went to Mount Rushmore a few years back. They had 17 felony charges against him, so he's been fighting that, and they just dropped all those charges on him.
All right. Is it because they showed up on their horses or something like that?
No, they were just blockading. They didn't want anybody going because it was up at Mount Rushmore.
Right, right. Yeah.
Right.
I remember reading about that. And yeah,
Right.
it was clearly an abusive charge.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad if they don't drop those ridiculous charges. Uh,
Right.
yeah.
But
It was,
yeah,
it was
Indian Collective is the one who started this land back movement. They're the ones
brilliant.
who are organizing it. They do take donations and everything, and
Excellent.
right. And so yeah, they're the ones to see about that.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I'll make sure to check that out
Right.
and maybe even interview them sometime in the future
Right.
to hear
And
about
and then Indian, we spell it different than the regular
yeah,
INDIAN. We
yes,
spell it NDN.
NDN, yes, the
Right.
letters NDN, yeah,
Right. So that's how Indian Collective is spelled also.
spelled.
And
All right. Okay, excellent. So if they are getting grants and things like that, they must have some support within the political from political figures, right?
right. Yep. Yeah, they support a lot of the Native Americans who are in office and stuff,
Right.
right, campaign for them and donations and stuff
Yeah.
like that, to get them in there.
Okay.
And we,
Okay.
right, and we do have quite a bit of Native Americans in the South Dakota capital.
Yeah.
There's more and more getting there anyway.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. As long as they do actually defend Native
Right.
Americans. Yeah.
As long
Because
as we don't lose them to
yeah.
the
Yeah.
system.
Exactly. Yeah. Because it's
Right.
much easier for them to just go along.
Right.
So yeah, and just work for big capital and ignore
Yep.
everybody else. It's so much
Yeah.
easier. Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
that's great. It's a good news. I think things are improving, although there's a lot to fix still, obviously. Um, yeah. So my next question is about like the young generation of Native Americans. So
Mhm.
you yourself have kids, so you're very familiar with this generation, this new generation.
Right.
What can you tell us about this generation? What is different between them and the previous generations in
Right.
of like awareness of their identity
Mhm.
and yeah, maybe the struggles that they are going
Right.
through themselves.
You know, my youngest one is daughter is 23, you know, and they're growing up with parents that are clean and sobered,
Yeah.
you know, not, and they're also growing up more aware of their traumas and more aware of their culture and spirituality, and they're not going towards the drinking and drugs right away. You know, they're staying sobered and clean, and they're wanting to get back into the culture and um into our spirituality and stuff. So they're making that clean break of the cycles and stuff and doing it sober, you know, right from the get-go, you know, with their young, that generation, you know, whereas my generation, I grew up with alcoholic parents, and yet they were both very active in our spirituality and in our movements and stuff like that, but they still had those addictions, you know, that they were dealing with,
Yeah.
you know. So sorry, this generation, like I said, that's why we call them our seventh generation. You know, they're ones who are healing, that are going to heal us, you know, lead us into healing.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
That's that.
right. So that's why
Yeah.
we call them our seventh generation, because they're going to know about everything, and they're going to do it clean and sober.
Yeah. That's brilliant. It's good to hear, really. Uh,
Yes.
yeah. It's I mean, yeah, yeah. To be raised in a healthy household is like the basics for good chances for a good start in life, right?
Right.
Whereas, yeah, the previous generations they were under such trauma, and it takes time to heal, and it takes generations
It does.
for a
Yeah.
people to heal, which is a little bit counterintuitive. You know, many people don't understand this, like how a trauma can go from generation, but it does actually. It does.
It does.
It is
Yeah.
recognized as such by scholars. For instance,
Mhm.
I have invited some of these scholars on this podcast, and we've talked about that already.
Right. You know, and a lot of people who don't believe that you know there's intergenerational trauma, that's because they have never lived it.
Exactly.
You know, they don't know what that is, or how it is, or how it affects you from
Yeah.
generation after generation. You know, is that um having two parents in your home, and having a home the whole time you're growing up with lights and food in it. That's just the basic needs that you need to grow up and be healthy. You know, we don't have those, even just the basic needs on most reservations, you know. So yeah, yeah, we don't grow up the same. We don't, unless you, like I said, unless you have lived it and been through it, you don't
Yeah.
know. And the last people who need to be talking about stuff like that is people who don't know.
So
Right.
this seventh generation is it like is it like a symbolic thing within the Native American culture? This seventh generation thing?
Crazy Horse
Ah, all right,
is the one who
right,
predicted,
right. Yes, yes, yes. It's
prophesized
prediction.
that our seventh generation was going to rise up and heal a sick world. And a seventh generation meaning all people's seventh generation, not just the Lakota people's generation, but every race.
Hey,
That generation is going to rise up and will heal a sick world.
all right.
So right. So when I run into the young ones that are 18, 19, 20, like that, I always tell them that we're depending on you guys, to boost them, to
Yeah,
let them know that I'm here to support you, and whatever you want to do, and whatever, I'm there, to support you guys and
yeah,
hold you up as much as I can.
yeah. Absolutely. Well, that
Right.
yeah, that's very interesting because right now, I don't know if you're aware, but right now there's like a big revival in Africa, at least in some countries, like Mali, for instance.
Mhm.
Mali recently has kicked out France from its territory.
Okay.
France was like it was intervening like to help fight terrorism, like they always do, right? Like the US.
Right. Right. You're the colonizers over there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
they were the colonizers, and then they were kicked out in the 60s with
Mhm.
independence movements. But then they came back. They came back under the pretense to fight terrorism, and there was terrorism, but mostly because France has managed to destroy the many African states with coups and things like that, assassinations.
Mhm.
And now there's new people in charge of Mali, and they have kicked out France, and they are like rebuilding not only Mali, but they're working on a pan-African movement, and more than a movement, a political representation. So it's very interesting what you're saying. I mean, I'm
Right.
parallels between what's going on, what you're saying about this new generation of Indians, of Native Americans, and
Right.
what's happening in Africa.
Right. Yes. That's why I said, that he said it'll be the seventh generation of all rainbow of people. Is how he put
Wow,
it. Right.
wow. Mhm.
So right. Is it? Yeah, they're the ones who are gonna lead us. That's why I said I try to do my part, with especially with my healing, you
Yeah,
know. I want to make sure I do it, the right way, and what I want to do, the right way, and be truthful and doing everything that I want to do, so that way they have that foundation, a solid foundation of coming from truth.
exactly. Yeah,
Hmm.
to go back to truth always
Right.
in a world where the West, and I say the West, yeah, I mean really the West, because there's no other there's
Right.
no other entity which has created so much chaos in the
Mm.
world, and yeah, nobody knows what is right from wrong, or true from
Right.
false, or they have created.
Right. That's why they have, the conspiracy theories,
Exactly,
that
yeah.
is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard when people start talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? That's almost close to like mental health issues.
Right. Yeah,
If you're thinking that hard into what's going on in the world, then, I think I think therapy and medication would be
yeah,
you know,
Yeah, people,
where
yeah,
do you start?
yeah. When people are constantly bombarded with lies, they start trying to come up with the weirdest explanations for things.
Right.
And yeah, you can't blame them really. It's because the system
No.
makes them makes them act like that, you know, because
Yeah.
they have lost all sense of reality
Right.
and connection
Right.
with
Right. You
reality.
know, that's what that their media, their
Yeah,
you know, their movies, their games, their music, their sport, all of
yeah,
that stuff is to take you out of being who you are and
yeah,
what they want you to be.
exactly. Yeah, they want
Yeah.
to be a zombie who just works from 8
Right.
p.m. to 8 p.m. and has barely time to eat and sleep. That's what they
Right.
to yeah to become. How can people both in Turtle Island, which they call America, and one interesting thing, by the way,
Mhm.
what you think about this, but personally, I'm constantly shocked that the US refers to itself as America. You know, it's like we are the continent. You know,
Right.
it's like everybody else doesn't count.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does it say to you that they call themselves with the name of the whole continent when they are just, you know, colonizers really at the end of the day?
Right. Right. Well, you know, I I don't even, like I said, us coming out to where we are today and all the awareness and everything. And Turtle Island, everybody's acknowledging it and everything, but it still seems it, because they divided us, you know, they have
Yeah,
these invisible lines: Canada, America, and then Mexico. You know, they just have us separated and divided. So it's still really hard to even grasp that you know that's what they did.
yeah,
You know, they have an imaginary line and they divided us all up. And they got away with it too, you know, able to
yeah,
divide us up like that,
yeah,
you know. So it's just it's a hard concept to even think about what they call this America, you know.
yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, so the yeah you're right. At some point, the natives of Turtle Island should join hands at some point, right? Because they have been the victims of the
Right,
scourge of the same scourge, and to overcome
right,
it, they should join hands again, right?
right, right. You know, and like I said, that's even a new concept to a lot of native people, you know, that because we are so um that deep in that assimilation, you
Yeah,
know, with colonization, assimilation, we are
yeah,
so deep in that. And like, you know, for us to start healing, that's when we can start realizing that yes, we are Turtle Island, and you know, Canada and Mexico is part of us. You know, even
yeah,
Mexico doesn't, um, they think they're a different
exactly.
country than us, you know, and Canada too, you know, we're just now all realizing that, you know, so
Right,
it's even hard to have that explanation, or even to even go further and say, let's all join up, because right now we're all still in that divided state.
right.
You know, there are Mexicans, they're from Mexico, you know,
Yeah,
they're illegal in America, you know,
right.
that mindset has been played over and over in us. So,
Yeah,
you know, so yeah, there's still that division, and like I said, the healing is very important for us and for us to realize that. And I think once we do realize that, then we can get our land back for good.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing that is happening in Africa, really, because
right.
there's
like I
this
said, that seventh generation, I don't know
yeah,
when they're gonna do it, but
exactly.
They're doing it.
Yeah, they are actually.
Right.
There is this Pan-Africanist movement, about African countries. This notion of countries has been, of course, an invention of the West. The borders,
Right.
the countries, just people even further. And yeah, the idea is that all these African countries join together under this umbrella of a Pan-Africanist political entity, and it would act for the interest of the whole continent. But yeah, it's not easy because people are still thinking inside
right.
inside this ideology that has been produced and instilled into them, drilled into them by the West. That
right.
One is Senegalese, one is Malian, and one is Algerian, and one is Moroccan, and you have to defend your own interests, and everybody else is a competitor at best, right? This is the ridiculous ideology, their morbid ideology, and we have first to clean ourselves from it before we can really implement this stuff. But yeah, I absolutely see parallels between what you're saying and what's going.
Right. Yeah, because that's a hard concept. Even it is, like I said, with this healing, it has to come slowly because some of the stuff it's like reverse trauma. Taking you back from over here and then trying to make you come back this way. That's sometimes when I think our culture right now on our reservations and stuff, our tribal councils are so into revitalizing our languages and our sun dances and our ceremonies and our songs, and they want all of this stuff, but I think healing needs to come first.
Right.
I think we need to heal first before we start trying to make us go back to what they already took from us,
Exactly. So can you tell us, Amber, how can people help?
Right. A lot of people ask me that too, and it's like, what? I don't even know where where to start with that either, but it does need to start somewhere, and I think, like I said, the white people, they can, help us amplify our voices and our causes and stuff, because they're the ones who have a bigger voice than us. They have a bigger audience. They have political friends, stuff like that. People who will talk about it, because even right now, they just had that American Indian Tribal Summit at the White House. And not once did they ever talk about freeing Leonard Peltier.
Wow.
And that should have been a big time for the tribes who were all there, who had Joe Biden's attention and stuff, to bring up some of these causes and say that, but we're silenced, that just goes to show you that it was scripted. You can only talk about certain and stuff like that. So we need those people who do have those voices and political friends and stuff to start saying stuff for us, and bring awareness to the organizations who are doing things like Indian Collective and oh gosh, there's so many of them out there who are Illuminati Native and stuff like that. Um, and even, yeah, that's what we need most, because right now that's where we are just starting to bring awareness out about our causes. We're just now getting voices and stuff. Any place or anybody amplify our causes, that would really help us, especially in the political, because as Native Americans, we do not have that pull in the justice system and in politics, in any of that. Like you said, we yeah, we do have people who are in the politics and stuff, but they just get swallowed up by the system and we lose them.
Yeah.
you know so yeah, that's what we need is voices.